everyone, welcome back. It's Moa, aka Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we're here with an Irish whiskey. It is this Tullamore D.E.W 14-year-old. It sits at 41.3% ABV and it's triple distilled, and it also has initially been matured in ex-bourbon barrels and then finished in both ex-Oloroso sherry butts, ex-Madeira drums and ex-pour pipes. And the finishing period is for at least 6 months in those casks. And Tullamore D.E.W is a distillery now located in Tullamore, and it's been there, I believe, since September of 2014. And the reason it has its name, Tullamore D.E.W, is of course because Tullamore is the city where it's located, and D.E.W is the initials, so D.E.W, of Daniel E. Williams, who was the founder. Tullamore D.E.W also does things in quite a special way. They believe in the power of 3, so they do triple distillation, they do triple cask maturation, and triple blending, so blending both green whiskies, pot still whiskies, and single malts together. But yeah, we're gonna have a little look on this one here and see what we think. Initially it feels quite murky and quite wine-esque in a way. It almost like it has a berry note that is fighting a bit with a pineapple note, so it's almost like you're getting the Madeira influence, but also the port, and they're like, yeah, it's almost like they don't really go seamlessly together, but it's almost like they're fighting each other, which makes for a really interesting note, I would say. It almost has the aroma of being slightly burnt as well, like burnt blueberries, which could be some sort of charring perhaps. Quite dense, but still quite fruity and a very unique nose. It's quite dense, but still fairly fresh. It's just a bit confusing with those almost like blueberry and pineapple notes. Yeah, a little bit reminiscent of when you're nosing a red wine that's slightly colder, you still get this kind of elegance of the wine note. And it's might be the port influence, but definitely getting that on the nose. And then a bit malty underneath, like wet malt. Let's have a little taste. Sláinte Skål. It's quite fruity on the palate, and then it has an oaky, tanniny, with a bit of vegetalness on the finish. I think initially the blueberry and the pineapple notes go much better together on the palate. It almost tastes a bit like, has some sort of artificial fruity note as well. What is that? It's definitely unique. It's a different kind of fruitiness, which is why I'm a bit not really sure how to describe it. It has a bit of oak spice, it has some tannins. It starts quite juicy, but then the finish is slightly drying. And you're left with this very specific note that makes me think more of blueberries. Almost like, I'm trying to figure out what that artificial candy note is, because it's not anything like obvious like pears or bubblegum or even pineapple. Maybe it's a bit like Parma violets, because it's still quite fresh, but it's a little bit strange. And on the nose, it's almost like it's I don't know how to describe it, but it's almost like it's a fruity single malt that has maybe someone thrown some quirky, maybe red. I have a red wine matured grain whiskey from SMWS, and that one is slightly funky in the same way. And if you blended that with a really fruity kind of single malt, I feel like this is kind of what you would end up with. If you like fruity tones in a whiskey and you want something a little bit weird and different, then maybe check this one out. Maybe my bottle's been open a little bit too long, but it's almost like it's a bit beery as well, like beer malty. This was a strange one. I feel like this is the kind of one I could drink and then just be like, oh, it's quite easygoing, it's quite fruity, oh, it has a bit of tannins. But when you actually stop and think about what the fruitiness is, that's when you're like, oh, this is a bit different. Because, yeah, it's that kind of oaky blueberries, perhaps? This is really weird. But now, on the palate, I wonder if it's that kind of beer maltiness, but almost smells a little bit like dog food. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it's just that kind of way. If you've ever smelled dog food, it has a bit of a maltiness to it, but a bit of a funky maltiness, of course. So I don't know if it has like a meaty tone, if that's what I'm getting. It's definitely not something that is dominant, it's just that underneath, and when I got it I was like, oh, spontaneously that's what I thought. Now I can't really unsmell it. Definitely not dog food on the palate, and trust me, because I've tasted it. And it's, yeah, quite fruity, easygoing. It's quite a fun one to review, I must say, because it's definitely not what I was expecting. I would of course love to hear if you have tried Tullamore Dew. Have you tried the 14, or have you perhaps tried any of their other expressions? Do you have a recommendation for me? Which one do you think I should try next? Please put it in the comments below. And of course, if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All the information is of course in the description here below, as well as links to my website, my Patreon, my Teespring shop, and my Instagram if you're curious about that. As always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and thank you so much for wanting to continue to support me on my whiskey journey. But I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.